Okay, so we're going to go over section 4.5 now. After this, you should be able to draw an image given the pre-image and an algebraic description of the sequence and be able to put those images on the coordinate plane and then write the transformation on the coordinate plane using the notation of the algebraic descriptions. Okay, so that's what we're going to be trying to do here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. All right, so this is pretty much just what we did yesterday, except without stepping through it, or not yesterday, but on 4.4. But we don't really have the tables to guide us through. So if you know your algebraic descriptions of transformation, this is a piece of cake, right? So we're given this polygon. This is a quadrilateral, and it's named WRDF, and it's undergo two transformations. This one is a rotation. Looks like it's clockwise. No, correction, counterclockwise, because of I know it's a rotation because the X and Y flopped, and counterclockwise because the negative is in front of the Y. If it was clockwise, the negative would be in front of the X. So this is a 90-degree, I think so. See if my memory serves me correctly. This is a 90-degree. I'm going to call this one, make this one red. See if my memory, I'm not even looking at my cheat sheet. What's going off in my memory? 90-degree counterclockwise, right? Rotation. Or you could say the 270 degrees clockwise rotation, whichever one. They'll both end up in the same spot. I'm pretty sure that's right, but I'm gonna do the whole table thing and see. Okay, so the best method I tell people is just to do the table every time. You could look at these things and then you could, put the points up and then just apply the relationship and then be right most of the time. But by convention, I just write the table up because it minimizes errors. My original or my image or my pre-image or my original polygon, I'm gonna start the table over here, right? And I'm just gonna use black. So it's W R D and F. It's a W, not an F. And an F. And my X and my Y value. X and Y value. Right, my W, X, my WX value. I'm going to pull my X values first. So it's -6, -6. R is -4, -4. D is -5. This is where I tend to make the most mistakes, so I'm a little more cautious than I normally am. And F is -2. And I'll put my Y values. W is -3, and so is F. F and W are both -3. -3, and W is -3. R is 1, and D is -5. So that's both -5 and -5. That'd be a bad number to figure out, or a bad point to figure out what type of transformation that was on, because they're the same number. All right, so now I'm going to, this is my correlation or my comparison. So I'm going to use the same color. And I'm going to say this is what I'm comparing it to: -y and x. And then, so it's linking it to this set of numbers. And I'm going to now say that my new quadrilateral is going to be W R F DF D F prime. Yes, honey. Not right now. I'm doing a video. I'll be with you in a second. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. That was my daughter. All right. So notice that I got the letters in the wrong order. As long as you get the letters in the same order or here as it does over here, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you have them in the same order when you transcribe the stuff. Okay, so my new x values, do a little one of these. Okay, my x values for my new polygon, my intermittent polygon, or my I polygon, whatever you want to call it. I need to leave some room for my W. This is going to be my X. This will be my Y. My X polygon is going to be the negative Y of the initial one, right? So initial one, right? So it's going to be the Y values, but I say negative Y, I mean, I'm going to flop the sign, right? So I'm gonna do two things. I'm gonna flop the absolute values of the X and the Y, and then for the Y, I'm gonna flop the sign too. Right, so this is gonna be 3, -1, 5, and 3, and then this one's gonna be, these are gonna keep the sign, right? Because there's no negative in front of X. Right, when we're talking about this relationship here, the negative sign in front of here in this connotation just indicates that the sign of whatever the original point was changes state, changes polarity, or whatever you want to call it. Right? It doesn't indicate that it's changing negative, right? It just indicates that it's changing state from positive to negative or negative to positive. All right, so over here, we're just gonna there's no negative sign in front of the X. So we're pulling from the X values over here for the Y values for a new point. All right, so it's gonna be -6, -4, -5, and -2. So now we have some new points. So let's pull some of these new points. Okay, our new W prime is 3, 6, 3, -6, 3, -6, 3, -6. That's right there. Our next one, and that's W. I'm just going to keep on this, and that's W prime. W prime. And then our next one is -1, -4, and that is R prime. This is R prime. And then we have a 5, -5, 5, -5. Okay. And that is what's this one right here? It looks funny for a second, but that's right. That's our D prime. That's our D prime. D prime. And then finally we have F prime, which is going to be 3 and -2. 3 and -2. Be, like I said, f prime. So let's run all those together and see if it makes like, it looks like it makes sense. So that's this one to this one to this one, this one to this one, and this one to this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and erase this, erase this. I'm gonna go ahead and capture this guy real quick. I'm gonna do a Control C, do a Control V. Whoops, not shrink it. Control V. I'm gonna rotate it right or left 90 degrees. Yeah. And then if I do that, I can see that make it transparent. Here, we're getting kind of dumb. Okay, and then I gotta make it transparent. Yep, I gotta rotate this again. Rotate it 90 degrees that way. Then I can see here, it's still not transparent. Why isn't it transparent? Transparent. There we go. Now I can see that it matches up with it pretty close. So that's a pretty good indicator that I rotated it properly there. If it was in Microsoft Word, I could just like actually rotate it, but Microsoft Word doesn't do that. All right, so that is my first rotation, and I said it was counterclockwise, and it went from like W went from here to here, and it's counterclockwise. That's a pretty good indicator. That was right. So that's cool. Right, you could also make a little, if you wanted to see, go from here to here, and then here to here, and that looks like a 90-degree angle, right? So you could say that, yep, that was a 90-degree angle between two corresponding points. So yeah, it's 90-degree clockwise direction. Yeah, so I was right. My memory didn't fail me on that one. Cool. So now let's look at the next one. The next one is the X and the Y stayed the same spot, and the Y changed direction, or changed this, right? So when that happens, that means that it goes from here to here, right? So it's changed. The distance from the x-axis stays, well, the distance from the x-axis stays the same, and then the Y's flop, right? So this is going to be a reflection across the y-axis. So this is a reflection across the y-axis. That's easy to remember because whatever the negative signs in front of us, it reflects across that axis. So the x doesn't change at all. So wait a minute. Reflection across the x-axis. I say reflection across the x-axis. It didn't seem right for a second. It's a reflection across the x-axis. Right, yeah, it's reflected across the x-axis because the y changes. The y changes. I was confused there for a minute. It's late. It's almost 10 o'clock. Right, yeah, so the x value doesn't change as I change it from the x to the y. The y value flops direction. Right, so we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to use the same table. Right, and I'm going to go W prime, double prime. I'll do it over here though. W double prime, R double prime, D double prime, and F double prime, F double prime. And the coordinate comparison is x comma negative y, and that is for, let's see here, x comma y from my red coordinate comparison of x comma negative y, because I'm pulling from my red numbers. So okay, so my blue numbers are going to be X and Y are going to be the same, right? So it's going to be 3, -1, 5, and 3. All these numbers are just going to transfer up. So reflect across my y-axis, across my x-axis. But the y's are all going to change. They're all going to flop polarity. Okay, so this is going to be 6. B is going to be 6. R is going to be 4. D is going to be 5, and F will be 2. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and grab this and plot all these. Okay, so W, so I'm going to start with R. That's going to be -1. -1, 4. So it's going to go straight up. It's going to go right there. All right. F is going to go right about here, 2 and 3. Right. Just goes the same distance to the line. W is going to go all the way up. Stay on this line, but go all the way up to 6. Yep. Stays on 3, but goes all the way up to 6. This one's going to stay on 5, but go all the way up to negative, or from -5 to +5. Double check that. Yep. Right. 5, 5. Okay, that looks like it's correct. All right, let me name these things now. This is R double prime. This one was F double prime. This should have been single prime. This was D double prime. This one is W double prime. And I'm going to go ahead and connect the dots now with the straight line maker. That. I'm going to do my Control V again, bring up this guy. I'm going to rotate him. Rotate 90. Oh, come on, I got to make it bigger again. Select more. Rotate him 90. Once that way, then I'm going to flip him. Flip like that. And you'll see that it matches, I think, pretty good. So I know that that acts pretty well. Right, so that is how you do these. Pretty straightforward. Let's see if I got anything else on these lessons that are killer. Nope, that's pretty much the gist of it. So if you follow this method, you're careful about selecting your numbers, and color coding is super, right? And you just remember to transpose these things correctly. Make sure the shapes look right, when you're done, you really can't go wrong. So it really helps if you understand what's going on here, right? If you understand these algebraic descriptions. All right. If you have any questions, please let me know. Hope you have a great day. And I'm going to end this one here.